first of many. We're going to be doing these monthly. Really, these are going to be designed to be collaborative and give you guys the opportunity to unmute and talk amongst each other, amongst us as managers, our partners with Guaranteed Rate Affinity. I see Adam on, and Burnett Title. I see Brian on, to really go over what we're seeing in the marketplace, but also what you guys are seeing, what you're hearing from your buyers, your renters, your sellers. We know that as we had to go hyper virtual in 2020, what that meant was we lost that pre-meeting chatter and that post-meeting chatter, that opportunity to speak with your colleagues about what do you have coming on, what are you seeing in the market, and we're really hopeful that this can start taking the place of that till at least we can meet in person. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and we'll go over some stats first, and then feel free to interrupt me, feel free to ask questions, feel free to, I'm not gonna be able to see the chat as well, so if you raise your hand, I might not be able to see it, but Michael Cairo, would you mind keeping an eye on hand raises and chats for me?
Sure, no problem.
Perfect, thank you. All right, well, we're gonna go ahead and jump right in and talk about some of the market stats that we have been seeing, particularly now that 2020 is all done. Thank goodness. We have a complete picture of what happened last year in three main MLS codes that the West Loop office and agents service. So I know this is a lot of data. I'm going to send these slides out for you guys, but if we look at, I pulled these from InfoSparks and MRED hot sheets in the MLS. So as you guys know, we're running frequent personalized trainings to Coldwell Banker agents for MRED, but they also run trainings all the time. And I'd love for Nakia to chime in after the slide to tell you how valuable those are. Because right now, this is a lot of information for you. And it's not necessarily that you're going to remember every single one of these stats, but we wanted to kind of give an overview off of the near West Side, West Town, and the Loop to give you guys an idea of what we saw happen last year and what is projected to come this year, right? So if you're kind of taking a look at that data where the average sale prices went, we saw some movement in the downward area over 2020, particularly in near West Side, but in West Town and the Loop, prices actually remained strong on average throughout the year and increased in some of those areas. Now, obviously, all it takes is one giant sale or one really small price to change and skew those, but that's why we were kind of looking at the averages to give you an idea. I would say that the average days on market is pretty in line with what Nakia, myself, and Michael have been hearing from agents out in the field, right? Things were taking a little bit longer in some areas to sell last year, particularly, you know, if you look at the Loop with that 105 days of how long it was on the market. A lot of that is because we saw a lot of sellers trying to get out of those high rises and into the suburbs, right? Get outdoor space, get private space, expand because they had to work inside. But ultimately, people did buy those units. It just took a little bit of extra time. And as we know, in high rise buildings, you can't just add a balcony. You can't just add washer and dryer and unit unless the building allows it. So those were some of the two biggest things that buyers were looking for in particular over the last year. And really, those are the trends projected into 2021 as well. Average shows to contract was right in line. I really wanted to focus on the fourth one down, that average price to original list, because I think that that's a really telling number right there. That stayed pretty strong. So even though prices were a little bit down in the average sale price, they're still selling well within 95% of the original list price. So that's something to really take with your homeowners who are thinking of selling going into 2021. You know, things did stay fairly strong, even though we did see some upset in the market from there. The month's supply and the next three ones down, I pulled particularly from the hot sheet, and I apologize for my typos that I'm seeing. I spelled days very wrong on that side. But you know, the hot sheets are an amazing tool that you guys can all access in the MLS to really see for a particular area or areas that you are serving or that you want to serve, to see what's been happening in at the most the last 14 days, but you can do any variation under 14 days from there. So I wanted to pull what has happened the last 14 days in these three areas, because what we've been hearing from a lot of you guys is that it's like that Christmas to New Year's week there were showings, there were things going under contract, there were buyers eagerly excited to take the advantage of the low interest rates and get into a new home within the first month or two of 2021. And then it feels like after that New Year's, it's almost like a shotgun in real estate went off, and we have so many buyers out there, but also a lot of listings coming on as well. So, you know, in the last 14 days, I specifically searched condos. Otherwise, we could talk literally all day long about each specific type of property. But to just look at condos in these three areas and see that just in the last 14 days, almost 30 units in each of these neighborhoods has come on in just the last 14 days. And likewise, to see what's gone under contract. I mean, Westtown, that's staggering. So going under contract or pending just in the last 14 days, 54 units in Westtown, just condos. And things that have closed in the last 14 days. And now we know, of course, things that have closed in the last 14 days probably went under contract 30, 45, 60 days prior. But it just really shows that as we were headed towards the end of the year, that trend of buyers taking advantage of the low rates, wanting to stop renting and purchase properties, and sellers feeling confident that they'd be able to find inventory for what they were wanting to move into, really kind of highlights in here. You know, the loop was down, obviously, compared to the other two MLS codes, but very strong and robust. And I wanted to kind of invite you guys to unmute and see if anyone on the call has been seeing this with their clients, if they've been kind of seeing that trend. If you guys haven't been, you know, what are you guys hearing? I know Tom Alcorn's on the phone. I know Elizabeth is newer to the offices, but of course, feel free to unmute, but wanted to check in on that. And then of course, welcome Michael Cairo to speak about what we're seeing on the rental side as well.
Rachel, I basically endorse everything that you're saying. The low mortgage rates, the seller, the owner, if they've been renting the unit or if they occupying the unit, this gives them an opportunity to upgrade, move out, potentially move outside of the city. If they're renting, they have a chance to sell the property, especially if they've got low debt on the property, and they could potentially sell and not take too much of a hit. Outside of that, you have to be very conscious of how we structure the deal to make sure that we attract the buyer for it and actually close it and so forth. But the business is very good on listing, very good.
Awesome. And Tom, you were one of our agents that had closings literally throughout the holidays, right after the holidays. It's like you did not slow down at all, it seems like.
Right. I had one late December and then I had one early January.
Yeah, well, congratulations on those for you, but that's awesome to hear that that's what you've been seeing. Mike, what have you been seeing on the rental side? Because we know downtown the landscape for rentals has so dramatically changed over the last 12 months. I'd love to hear what you're seeing and what you're projecting on your end for rentals.
Yeah, for sure, Rachel. No, thanks so much, and good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, so on the rental end, you know, we're optimistic. We're cautiously optimistic going into 2021. I think what we're projecting is that when, you know, COVID first hit in mid-March, at least that's when the lockdown happened, mid-March of last year, everybody that would be normally re-signing their lease or looking for a new place, everything was kind of put on hold for the most part. So what that meant is a lot of people just made the assumption to re-sign their lease. Now that people are more confident at the way forward and that they can move safely and they can, you know, go and look for new housing, I think what we're seeing is that they are, you know, they're tired of their small spaces, if that's the case. You know, if they're working from home and they need additional office space, they're going to be looking for that new rental. So I think that we are going to see a lot of departures from their leases, a lot less renewals this year, which is going to mean a more robust rental marketplace and hopefully lead to, you know, filling some of this inventory, especially downtown. I mean, you know, what we've seen for some of these rental high rises of 3 months free rent with waived move-in fees and look and lease specials. And, you know, a lot of these neighborhoods around us, West Loop, South Loop, especially River North, Streeterville, we've seen tremendous incentive opportunities all throughout the winter for new tenants because there's just simply, you know, an inventory surplus and not as much demand. So it'll be interesting to see how that changes as we move into the next few months here.
That's great. Thank you for that update. I would say that that's pretty much what Nakia and I have been hearing and Curtis have been hearing as well. It's kind of interesting to see what the prices did. I know I moved in middle of COVID. I moved in October, so kind of towards the tail end of 2020, but the landlord that I ended up renting from had originally started, I think, at $2,300 for a 2-bed, 1-bath in Ravenswood and ended up having to lower it to $1,780. You know, before I came across it and was able to rent it. So seen a lot of price drops in that. Are you thinking that to anyone that's kind of have stale inventory with rentals, now is a good time to offer those price drops or a month free or things like that to kind of move the inventory? Or are you thinking holding off on some of those moves might be a good play right now?
So I think that anybody that has a rental listing that's been on the market now for a few months, there's definitely still opportunity for the landlord to put an incentive out there. You know, maybe start with you know, a half-month free rent or a month free rent, especially in our downtown neighborhoods, because condos are going up against you know, these really beautiful all amenity, you know, full amenity buildings that are offering 2-3 months free. So in order for them to stay competitive, they may need to put an incentive out there. But honestly, we probably have a little bit in the rental division. We have a little bit more luck with just, you know, an aggressive price reduction. Tom, you probably agree with that, just with the portfolio that you work with. Price reduction over incentive. I know that that's usually what you work with Peak and Property Frameworks, but that's at least what I'm seeing on my end.
Correct. We're a little more aggressive than 1 month rent. Sometimes it's a month and a half. We've kind of tapered off of that 2 month and the 3 month, but there's some buildings that are still offering 2 and 3 months free rent on a 16, 18 month lease. We are still taking a reduction in price in conjunction with a rent concession. We're not really offering the bonus or the additional commission on these transactions. We're giving it to the renter instead of giving it to the agent.
Yep. For sure.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for that. I think that's great. Before I move off this slide, I would love Adam McLean with Guaranteed Rate Affinity. If you could kind of talk to us a little bit about what you saw throughout the year last year and kind of what you guys are projecting. And then also I'd love for you to remind the agents about the very exciting opportunity for their buyers with a buyer credit from Guaranteed Rate Affinity. That would be awesome.
All right. So anyway, yeah, last year was a very odd year, I think, for everybody, just working remotely. Rates were unbelievable. I think, you know, in the beginning of last year, I think we were projected to go up, and obviously that all changed with COVID. This year, one thing I can say in the market is that this year is definitely the Fed's got our back. Rates are going to be low for a while, but I'm going to throw a caveat out there. With change of administration, I don't think really anything is certain. I think that rates will stay relatively low, but we are seeing a little bit of price pressure on pushing rates up just slightly, ever so slightly. We'll see how this goes toward, you know, as we move on into the year. But I think at least for the near term, rates are going to stay where we're at. I mean, the darling of the industry is by far the 15-year fixed. I mean, good credit, shitty credit. I mean, you're still going to get 2.375 on a 15-year fix. I just priced out somebody with a 640 FICO score on a 15-year fix. Banks just love this product. They will push that out. It is the biggest wealth builder I've ever seen in this business. And I've been doing this for 20 years. I just, you know, you get some new kid buying a property, buying a $250,000 condo, $300,000 condo. If they can wing a 15-year payment at 2.375%, I mean, 5, 6, 10 years from now, I mean, they are way ahead of the game. So that is still like, I bring that up to almost every single one of my clients. 30-year fix is a 30-year fix. I mean, it's just basically an offset for rent. It's not a huge wealth builder. Rates are great. Still in the, we're still in the high twos. But other than that, though, I'm swamped right now. I've been literally on Zoom calls with clients, with office meetings here. Rich, I think I missed a couple of meetings, but I've been a little mobile. So, but anyway, but I think I've got all the schedules down. I've just got, it's just the amount of emails, everybody's like trying to schedule these things in. But if anybody was on the Oak Park call, before I mentioned that $500 credit, if anybody was on the Oak Park office call the other day, I think Rachel, you were on it, right? With the IDA program?
Yes, the IDA program on Monday.
Those things are huge. I mean, there's a new IDA program. If anybody's not familiar with IDA, that's Illinois Housing Development Authority. There is a new program that's rolling out. It's still getting its sea legs, so it's not exactly like anchored in yet, but it's a 5% of the purchase price grant for home borrowers. And if they've got a student loan, it will encompass 15% of the purchase price up to $40,000 of encompassing student loans. Now, as this information gets a little bit more hammered out and we have a little bit more information, I will send out emails to all the offices on this stuff. It is a very exciting program because if you know anything about, student loans have been a big impediment for a lot of first-time home buyers. So this will be a nice way to wipe out debt if somebody's on the edge and they're just, we're pricing them out a little bit, because they're priced out a little bit because of that monthly payment for that student loan debt. This is just a huge incentive to go out and talk to people about wiping out some student loans, getting a grant. On these programs, with the IDA programs, if you're not familiar with them, you can buy a property with literally 1% of your own funds. So these have always been I've always loved these grant programs. There's a lot of grant programs out there. These are not necessarily for first-time home buyers either. So these are for repeat buyers as well. But they can buy a property with as little as 1% of their own funds into the transaction, though. So you're buying a $250,000 property with the grant program. If you work in a seller-paid closing cost credit for closing costs, you can literally have a borrower. They can get gifts. They can literally purchase with 1% of their own funds into the transaction. So $2,500 for a $250,000 property. If you can't afford that, you probably should just keep renting. But anyway, but it's just, it's really cool. It's a great program. And then on top of that, we've always had the $500 grant program. I think if you've been sitting in any of the offices, you usually see those flyers laying around somewhere with my face on it with the $500 closing cost credit, which we've always offered. But now it's been kind of like encapsulated with Coldwell Banker as kind of like a actual, benefit to talk about. So that's going to be rolling out. But also on top of that, I just want to kind of mention is that when you're doing these programs, when people are like doing pre-approvals, and I don't know if anybody knows this about Guaranteed Rate Affinity, but we have a corporate objective. So there's two components to a rate. There's the rate itself, and then there's the pricing of that rate. And if the pricing of the rate at the time exceeds our corporate objective, we give that to the client anyway. So on top of getting the $500 credit, I'm going to give any overage of pricing to a borrower as well. So there's a lot of cases where I do a loan and I lock in somebody, and our corporate objective is 1.4, and it's coming in at 1.7. The pricing of that loan, I'm giving them another 0.3 credit. So sometimes, a lot of times, you'll see we're picking up almost all lender costs. So that's also something. Also, I don't think it's really talked about all that much, but I do it on every single deal. So those are some of the things that are going on. I'm encouraged. It's a gangbuster start of the year, pre-approvals left and right. So that's pretty much all I got for you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Adam. That was a ton of information. So I see several of you agents on there. Really encourage you to reach out to Adam. Adam, if you could put your contact information in the chat, that would be great. If you're curious about learning more about those programs and incentives and just more about loans yourself so you can properly articulate it to your clients, reach out to Adam and any of our GRA reps. They're such good resources, but also, really meet with him and see how he can help leverage your business, work with your buyers, and answer some of those questions for them, right? We don't want to get too into the weeds as realtors because we can't act as loan officers. That's Adam's job or Robin or Doug's job, right? So match up with them early on.
Yeah, just a little information is dangerous. So I think just having just a little bit of grasp helps you like triangulate some clients and like focus the clients that you want to work on.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Adam. I appreciate it. I also see Brian Brown with Burnett Title. Can you talk to us a little bit about what you're seeing on this side with title, what you guys are projecting for 2021? That would be great.
Thank you. Last year for us allowed us to be more innovative. I'd mentioned that before. We as a title company learned how to accommodate clients in their closings and to facilitate as many as we can. So we're continuing to grow our products and the way we do business. We're extending our some of our hours in order to accommodate closings. And again, we're not just a title company to help with the closing and the settlement. We're also a resource to utilize if you have certain legal questions. Again, like Adam said, a little knowledge can get you in trouble. We have attorneys that are available who work with us who can answer questions for you to make sure you're giving your clients the best information, you're not steering them down the wrong road. And we're going to start having that, I believe, next week with the attorneys being available on virtual calls to assist you. Some will be coming into the offices to be available. If you have any questions at all, feel free to utilize them. We have products right now like Title Snap, which allows us to do an estimate for you on the seller closing. So they'll know at least what they'd walk away with if it's a viable transaction to do it this time or later. We also have Pulse Point, which gives you updates. When you do sign up, they have a listing. We'll send text to you to let you know what the process is, when we receive the order, when we have a clear to close, when it's closed, and when you can expect to pick up a check. And we can have the check made payable to you at the closing. So you can walk away with the check or have it direct deposited. Let the office administrators know what you'd like to do, but we're able to help facilitate that as well. But one thing I want to point out, I've had over 20 years of banking experience and mortgages and lending, as well as title. So again, some of the ideas that you come across, we'll help find the right and appropriate people to help get those deals done. I want to thank Adam and the GRA team. Doug and Robin have been doing a fantastic job. We've done a lot of closings for them. And what Adam is telling you, they're a great partner to work with because they get things done timely. Again, I've been in banking for quite a while, and things move at a snail's pace more than likely, but GRA steps up to the plate and they get things done. So if you have any questions, please utilize the resources you have with us. I'm on my mobile phone. I'll try to leave my contact information, but I'm always available 7 days a week, even on Sundays, because your business doesn't stop. And I want to make sure if you need a net sheet, please reach out to me. If it's 9 o'clock on Sunday, don't worry about it. I'm not watching the Bears anymore. They're out.
I was going to ask you, even during football, we can reach you?
Yeah, please. That's what I want you to call. To give me a distraction. But again, we're here. We're committed. And once you get to know us more, you'll realize that we are an extension of what you're offering your clients. So thank you for the opportunity.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Brian. I would love to hear I don't see any hands raised. I don't see any questions in the chat, but Nakia, I'd love to just kind of hear from you and your hot takes on what you're seeing in the market as well. And of course, always the friendly push to our lovely MRED.
Yes, you guys, as we look at the data, what's important is, how are you marketing your listings? That's going to be different than 2020. And you really do want to focus some time, if you haven't already, on taking like InfoSpark's course or the CBX course, where you can really hone into the data and look to see where your potential buyer is coming from. For those of you who are prospecting for business, again, I'm going to point you back to the data because, again, as you decide where to farm or, what list of people to call, you should be pulling from Remind as an example. You really want to look at that data. So as we look at month supply of inventory, for example, and I've pulled Loop, Westtown, near West Side in 60607 zip code. Those month supply of inventory, like in the Loop, as you know, over 11 months supply of inventory. So you need to have that listing. If you have listings in the Loop, it needs to be everywhere. HomeSpotter boost, perhaps even looking at HomeSnap ads, leveraging your social media sphere. And again, we look at Westtown is still in a seller's market. So maybe that perhaps as it relates to month supply of inventory. So maybe, you know, that's an area that you decide you want to farm for additional listings. When we look at near West Side and the 60607, they're in the what we call that normal healthy market range. So your normal market. But this is the time to really dive into the data, become an expert on the areas that you serve and that you want to serve, and really leverage your lending and title partners. So Adam and team, I'm sure, can do rate sheets for your listings. You know, this is the time to ask Rachel Curtis and I for any newbies. For those of you who are too swamped to hold your own open houses, people are out. So this is the time to think outside of the box using data to get these properties sold. And I'm off my soapbox.
Awesome, thank you. I was notified I'm sharing my team screen too, so you guys can all see everything I'm doing, but I'm trying to type in some of the great stuff that Nakia was mentioning. It is so key to market your property effectively, especially in some of these markets, right, where we do have extra inventory. We're trying to move that. So combining the tools in MRED, Remine, InfoSparks, Hot Sheets, which we've all talked about today, with the power of Listing Concierge, those home spotter boosts, those targeted web advertisings, that's going to be so key for you. And then I also love those rate sheets for listings, especially at open houses, right? We've got a lot of buyers out there, many of whom aren't represented yet. They haven't chosen somebody yet to represent them. So if when they come through your open house, you're able to say, hey, this is the rate sheet for a listing just like this. This is the lender I work with. And oh, by the way, if you work with me and my lender, I'll get you $500 closing cost credit. And oh, by the way, my lender also has a lot of knowledge about IDA programs and grant programs to help make your first purchase or your second purchase or third purchase seamless and easy. That's just another way to pick up that buyer, right? Especially if you're holding an open house, not at your own listing. You know, if you're holding it for anybody else's listing, reach out to Adam or Robin or Doug or Aaron, and they'll get those going for you. Does anybody have any questions or comments on anything we've just mentioned before I go to the next slide? Bueller. I'm going to go to the next slide then. We wanted to highlight a little bit of that market share volume and also where we are percent-wise as a company in these three market areas. This is always so nice for you guys to know, just as reminders for the power that each one of you has when you go out and list a property or when you go and go under contract on a property. So we've done really well in these three market areas. You see I did near West, Westtown, and Loop for both sides on what we've done in the last 12 months with these stats as a company for Coldwell Banker. So not just West Loop office specifically, but obviously, as we know, if you're a city agent, you're going to kind of work all over the city, right? So wanted to kind of incorporate this all over for you guys on what we've done. You know, over 3.5 million in volume in the Loop, over 3.8 in Westtown, which is great and amazing for all of you guys. Congratulations, because this is your hard work right here, right? Nakia, myself, Curtis, Brian, and Adam, we're here to help support you, help you facilitate, but this is all you guys going out, earning that business, showing your value and getting to that closing table. So congratulations to each and every one of you guys. There's certainly room to grow, as there always is, but these are nice stats for you to know going into the marketplace. And also it's always nice, right? We're all competitive, we're all salespeople, so we like to win. We did want to share with you guys a big announcement that came out in Inman this week, specifically about our global luxury properties. So we are now entering into an exclusive partnership with James Edition and Bloomberg's property marketplace. So all of your Coldwell Banker listings priced at 1 million or above are automatically going to syndicate to James Edition and have placement on Bloomberg's property marketplace. What this means for you, if you are headed into a listing presentation with $1 million+ listing, right? What this means for you is that listing is going to be on a website that reaches over 550,000 high valued buyers a month and produces $12 million impressions worldwide. This is just yet another way that in using Listing Concierge and then adding this as well to show your sellers what is going to set you apart from every other realtor that they might be interviewing for that listing. This is huge. And that's just James Edition. Bloomberg touts having over 75 million users across the globe with an average net worth of $1.7 million per user. So these are some big stats, some big numbers. It is a Coldwell Banker exclusive, not Realogy exclusive, Coldwell Banker exclusive. Our very own Craig Hogan, who was out of our Gold Coast office, who now heads up Global Luxury Program for all Coldwell Banker, helped facilitate this. So check out that Inman article. I have it in the slides, which I'll send out, but I'm sure Nakia probably shared it in the chat, as she did yesterday. This is nice to be able to put in your back pocket, be able to incorporate into your Moxie slides, and really be able to hit this home with your sellers of why it's so important to list their property with you. Also, you guys saw today we got the December year-end numbers, December and year-end numbers for you guys, and recognition has gone out in an email to the office earlier today, but we would be remiss to not take an opportunity when we have some of you in front of us, including one of our top 5 for the year, Nikki Wells, I see popped on as well. So a huge congratulations to each and every one of you on this. You know, the December top agents on the left-hand side, pardon me, coming in hot, Victoria Wallachek, who's got the #1 place both for the month of December and for the entire year in the office. So huge congratulations. In December, we have Justin Bergeron coming in second, and Justin works 2 markets, the Indiana market and the Chicago market. So he's a great resource. Araceli Medrano and Jerry Cox at 3 and 4. And I'd like to highlight that both Araceli and Jerry have only joined us, Araceli in the last 6 months, and Jerry in the last year, and are both in the top 5 for December, which is a huge accomplishment for both of you. And of course, Nikki Wells, who has been a reigning champ in the top 5 off and on for the last year in our office, and was able to secure that spot for herself for the year as well. So huge congratulations. That's this year, and I know that we're so sick of hearing it, right? This unprecedented year, but it really is. And we say that often because we want to remind you how hard we know you are working and how much we appreciate working with each and every one of you and celebrating in your successes. You know, for the year-end top agents, as I mentioned, we got Victoria. In #2, we have Souk. Souk just joined our West Loop office about 4 months ago, not as a new agent, but she brought her business over here, has been leveraging Listing Concierge on her listing appointments, has been leveraging our tools and tech, and that's gotten her into that 2nd place. Philip Weaver, who joined us right like a week before the shutdown happened. Philip joined our offices, is in that #3 spot. Anthony Gazzo, who is essentially a rookie of the year. He's only been in the business 1 year and is #4 in the office for 2020. And Nikki Wells, as we talked about, #5. So huge congratulations to each and every one of you guys. We're excited to see some of our newest agents on this call get into those top 5 lists, because as you've seen, it's possible, right? Whether you're new to the business or you're experienced, if you're leveraging Listing Concierge, CBX, Moxie presentation, and of course the wonderful tools you get from MRED as well, you're going to be able to speak to the market in an effective and succinct way that's going to win you that listing, that's going to secure you that buyer, right? And then of course, once you've got that listing, you're leveraging Brian Brown and his team with Burnett Title to help them save money on title, help them close effectively, because if we don't close, right, we haven't done our job, right? That's so important to get to that point. And then on the buy side, you've got Anna McLean, Robin Barron, Doug Smith, and Aaron Wise there to help you secure that buyer client, get them pre-approved, help maneuver through those grant programs, save them money, and get into that dream property of theirs. So huge congratulations to each and every one of you guys. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now, and kind of open up the floor and just see. I know I see Brian Samara popped on. Hi, Brian. I see Nikki Araceli. Congratulations to you as well. Khadidra's on. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, or anything you'd like to share with us that you're seeing from your clients, now's the time. Don't even raise your hand. Feel free to unmute and just chat with us.
Hi, I don't know if anyone can hear me.
We hear ya.
Perfect. It's so nice to virtually meet everyone. I've been with Caldwell for a few months, starting in July, but I recently just got my license, my broker's license. So very, very new at this thing. I'm still picking up a lot of rental clients who's looking to rent, not as well, not listing. But I did want to know if anyone was open to, like allowing me to just assist them with open houses. I'd love to do that.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. So all of you listing agents on the call, you heard that. Khadidra's here and happy to help. We also have Elizabeth on the call who just joined our office. I'm sure she would be excited as well. And if you're ever curious on how to pick up those listings, please reach out for open houses. Please reach out to Nakia and I. We'll kind of walk you through, my pro tip is always go into the MLS. Search for Coldwell Banker listings, not necessarily even within your West Loop office, right? You can hold open houses for any Coldwell Banker Realty, not franchise, Realty listing. And it's so much more impactful as a listing agent to have someone reach out and say, hey, Rachel, I saw your listing at 123 Main Street. That's right in the area I love to work. I'm in the West Loop office. I would love to host an open house for you this weekend. If you and your sellers are okay with that, just let me know a day and time, rather than mass emailing the office, right? Because by the time I see your email, I might not have a listing anymore. I might not need you in that moment. So always be looking at that MLS to see what's new, what's come back on the market, what's recently had a price change, and solicit those realtors directly to try and host that open house for them. And Nakia, myself, or Curtis, I see just popped on, are so happy to help show you how to do that. Hi, Curtis.
That is perfect. I will definitely use that. Thank you so much.
Hello, friends. I'm sorry I'm so late.
No problem. You're welcome, Khadidra. Let's put that on. Well, you and I will definitely do that. And actually, you know what? Maybe Curtis and I will do that again in our New to the Business peer group, and Nakia as well this Friday, is kind of show everybody how to go back in and search what listings Coldwell Banker agents have. But if you are a listing agent on the call, Khadidra is here and ready to help for you guys.
Please. Thank you so much.
Of course.
Oh, I don't know if I got that memo or that invitation to the one that you just mentioned for the new agent. Can you send that to me, please?
I will resend that to you. No problem.
Thanks.
Awesome. Does anybody else have anything? We certainly don't have to take the whole hour, but we want to make sure you guys can have the opportunity to, have that. If you've got something coming on and you want to let us know, you're seeing stuff in the market, just shout out.
Rachel, this is Nicola. Nikki.
Hi.
Hi. I think that what I want to say is just complimentary in nature. I just wanted to say congratulations to all who have reached their goals for 2020. And of course, especially the top 10, I really appreciate feeding off of all of your energy. And congratulations to everyone who has chosen Coldwell Banker as being their brokerage, because I think that we're, to be honest with you, really at this time just getting the best. And I appreciate Rachel and Nakia and everyone who's been supporting me throughout my journey. So thank you.
Thank you, number 5. We really appreciate you too, and congratulations. Awesome. Well, and you know what? I see Allison is back on, and I just want a friendly reminder. Allison, if you want to unmute and just introduce yourself and let everybody on the call, in case they haven't come and met you yet, who you are and what you're here to do for them. I think you're muted. Oh.
Sorry, is that better?
They can hear you.
All right. Hi, everyone. Just another reminder. I am your West Loop office SSA. So I'm here to help, I'm processing your checks, here to help you with any CB programs, MLS, etc. Let you know if you got a package. Basically anything you need, let me know, and I'll either help you or figure out who can help you. So yeah, just let me know.
Awesome. And what is the best way for agents to get questions answered quickly, to reach you, but then also to be directed to the right person with their question? What's the best way for them to reach out to you?
Totally. So the best way would be to email westloop@cbexchange.com. or you can give me a call on the main office line. If you get the voicemail, just leave a voicemail and I'll call you back. If you don't leave one, I won't call you back. But yeah, email is usually the best.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Allison. And things are heating up here in the West Loop, you guys. We've gotten about 3 or 4 phone calls in the last 2 weeks from agents who are just getting their licenses and are looking to join our office. So be prepared to see a lot of new, fun, fresh faces on these calls as well. We are growing so strong, and we love having the leasing division here as well. Michael and all of your team. I see Brian Samara on the call. I know Dylan is upstairs setting hundreds of appointments for his relocation client in the next day or two. So we're so excited with that energy that's really in the office. And don't forget, you guys can tap into that with Michael at any time. You've got a listing that you're, a lease listing that you're putting on the market. And even if you're not running it through the leasing division, Michael is here as a resource for you to answer all those rental questions.
Absolutely. Thanks, Rachel.
Awesome.
Oh, and really quick, let me plug, since you're talking about growing and expanding our amazing team here, don't forget, everyone, about 221, our agent referral program. 2% of GCI for your first 2 years that you're both with the company, 1% for every year after that. That works for the rental division, that works for the sales side. So if you're on either, you can refer somebody over to the sales side. If you're with rentals, vice versa. So just make sure to chat with Rachel, Nakia, or myself, and we will make sure to connect with your referrals ASAP. So just wanted to make sure everyone was aware of that.
Look at this, guys. Teamwork makes the dream work, right? Thank you for bringing that up.
Absolutely.
Well, I don't see any other hands raised. I haven't seen anyone else go off mute. So we'll go ahead and wrap up for the day. But thank you guys all so much for being here. Congratulations to all of our top 5, top 10, top 20. Just even being here and functioning in 2020 was a huge win for each and every one of us on this call. So congratulations. And we'll see you guys, well, probably in the near future virtually. We've got 1,000 things running every day, it feels like.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Take care, everyone.
Thanks, Rachel. Thanks,
Have a
everyone.
good one.
Take care. Bye-bye.
See you guys later. Have a good day.